Welcome back. Violinist Daniel Hope had a long association with Yehudi Menuhin and is also the youngest ever member of the venerable Beaux-Arts trio. His repertoire ranges from Bach to Indian ragas to the music of Stewart Copeland, the drummer of the Police.
At the age of 4, I picked up some knitting needles and began to mimic the violin. I can remember having a conversation with my father and asking him if I became a soloist, could I buy as much bubblegum as I wanted? And he said, if you become a soloist, you can have all the bubblegum you want. And it sounded like a great deal to me, so that's what I went for. I think that musicians are here to tell a story to the audience and to show them the links between works, not just to present an evening of works, but maybe to tell a story about those works. The music has been around for centuries and will still be, but it's up to us to work out a way of communicating and transmitting that.
Once upon a time, in Spain, there was a little bull.
There's also a fun piece called Ferdinand the Bull, which is for violin and narrator, and that's where I get to put on my acting hat a little bit and tell a children's story through music.
Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. Why don't you run and play with all the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say.
Nowadays, audiences in this digital age, with all of the multimedia possibilities that we have, they're expecting some kind of an extra experience. I grew up in Yehudi Menuhin's house because my mother was his secretary. Menuhin had many, many instruments, but one of his instruments was a Galliano violin from 1769, which he played on when he was a young boy. And I bought this instrument from him when I was 16. That means I started to pay it off when I was 16. You could go from the very, very quietest pianissimo to the biggest explosion, and it has hundreds of colors in between. And it's a wonderful instrument to experiment with. You can play all sorts of styles with it. The violin carries beautifully. It looks wonderful. Yehudi Menuhin once said something to me. We went to listen to Ravi Shankar performing, and I turned to him and I said, "That was amazing, wasn't it?" He said, "Yes, it was." He said, "What did you think was so amazing about it?" And I said, "Well, it was just everything." And he said, "Yes, it was amazing to listen to, but it was amazing to look at as well." And he said, "Never forget that 80% of the audience hear with their eyes." I wouldn't quite agree with 80%, but of course there's an image, there's a whole concept behind that. And the audience is there also to be entertained.
You've never heard a cucaracha like this?
I just think that the music that we have to play is so fantastic, and that you can juxtapose many different musical styles. And then I think many people underestimate an audience's potential to accept that music and to look at it in different ways. So I look at challenging an audience because I think an audience is an incredibly intelligent being. And I think an audience appreciates it if they have the chance to view extremes. It's about telling that story and getting it across.
Hope's next recording project will be of some lesser-known Vivaldi concertos. Thanks for joining us here at the Museum of Modern Art. I'm Carol Masser. See you next weekend on Muse.